Hello friends, this is Professor Jitendra Acharya. Today's lecture we will start with the design part, that is first belt conveyor design. Now we know that belt conveyor design is a part of material handling system. We have to deal with the two designs. First one is hoisting mechanism and crane hook, that is nothing but a crane, and in a second part we have to deal with the belt conveyor design. So we will be starting with the belt conveyor design first, and then we will go for the hoisting mechanism design. Now in any belt design, whether it is a flat belt conveyor system or whether it is a V-belt conveyor system, we have to follow certain design steps. So those steps are nothing but design, capacity and material properties we have to find out. That is step number 1. Step number 2, we have to select a motor. In step 3, we have to design a belt. Then in step 4, we have to design drums, then drum shaft and drum bearing. Then we have to design the rollers or what we call it as a idlers. Then we have to design a system for axles for those idlers. And in last step, we have to comment on arresting mechanism and tension on take-up unit. So this is how we have to proceed the belt design. So we will be considering this design steps, or we will be understanding this design steps with respect to numerical. So let's start with the numerical first. Now you will find the question like design the belt conveyor for following specification. Hence the properties will be given to you, likewise capacity. Now this TPH is nothing but your tons per hour. Then lump size, it will be given to you. Then length of the belt will be given to you. The length here it is given as 50 meters. Now this is your center to center distance between two drums. Then troughing angle theta 20 degree. Now sometimes this troughing angle is not given to you, so this troughing angle you have to assume it as a 20 degree only. And inclination angle, which is given by delta 15 degree. Now even if this inclination angle is not given to you, you can refer it from the PhD. You have to refer the PhD data book for the page 9.22. So here we can see that for given material, now in this problem we have a coal, that's why we have selected coal as our material, and we will get these properties for angle of repose, density and angle of belt to horizontal, that is angle of inclination. Here standard angle is 18, but since we have given angle as 15, we will take it as 15 only. But if it is not given, we will refer this table from this PhD 9.22 and we will consider it as a 18. So this is your problem statement. So in this one data was missing, that is material, which was given as a coal. Now in today's lecture we are going to cover only two steps. First one is material properties and design capacity, and second one is motor selection. Okay, so we'll start with the first step, step 1, design capacity and material properties. Okay, so let's start with this design capacity. Now we know that capacity is given to us. Capacity, it is denoted by Q. It is given as 200 pph. But for safety of design, we will consider it as a 10% more while designing it. So write it down as assuming 10% extra capacity of given. So what is the Q design capacity? Q design is equal to 1.1 into 200, so that is 220 TPH, right? So 200 into 1.1, so that is 220 tons per hour. So this is our first part, that is design capacity. Then we will go for the material properties. Now in material properties, what are the factors we have to design? That is width, then speed of the belt. So we will start with the belt width and actual speed, belt width denoted by B, and actual speed small v actual. Now in belts, for graded material and for ungraded material, we have certain empirical relation. So we'll write it as using empirical relation with respect to lump size and assuming graded material. Now why we have to write it down assuming graded material? Because for ungraded material we have different relation, and for graded material we have different relation. So for graded material, this B is given as x into A max plus 200. Now this x is different for graded material and ungraded material. Now for graded material, x is given by 3.5, and for ungraded material, this x is taken as 2.5. Okay, and here A is nothing but your lump size, which is given to us as 100 mm. So belt width we can calculate it as 3.5 into 100 plus 200. So this B will be your 350 plus 200, so that is 550 mm. So this is your another answer. Since this A max, that is lump size in mm, you will get belt width in mm only, because x and 200 are constant. So this is your belt width B. Now we have to find out actual speed. Now before going for actual speed, what we have calculated B as 550 mm, but belts are having some fixed dimensions. So from PSG 9.20, we can see that for material coal we have to select next standard size of belt width 650 mm, which is greater than 550 mm as per our design calculations, and the allowable belt speed in meter per second would be 2 meters per second. So these two are the values from this PSG 9.20. Now we have velocity with us. So we have to check whether this velocity is correct or not for the given set of conditions. Now next step is checking of selected belt for given capacity. We have to check these values. Now what is the relation? B mean, minimum belt width required, B mean is 1.11 into Q upon rho C V bracket raised to 1 by 2 plus 0.05. Let us consider this as equation number 1, and you will find this equation in PSG 9.18. So here we have to refer this B mean is equal to 1.11 into bracket Q by rho CV bracket raised to 1 by 2 plus 0.05. It is given in the PhD data book. Now in PhD data book this rho is not given, so you have to consider that rho value also. Now B mean is nothing but your 0.65 meters, because you have selected 650 mm of belt width. Then rho value I have considered it as 0.715 tons per meter cube. Here again this value is given in the PhD data book, so So refer PHG 9.22. So from PHG data book 9.22, for given material coal we have this density in tons per meter cube in the range of 0.65 to 0.78. Now you can take any range, so I have selected 0.75. You can consider it as a 0.72 or 0.75 also. That depends on you. It will just change your answer. Then C is 460. Again this is from PHG data book, so PHG 9.18. So from PHG 9.18 we can see that factor for the type of idler C, we can take it as 240 for flat belt, 460 for trough angle of 20 degree, 510 for trough angle of 25 and 545 for trough angle of 30. Now here trough angle is given as 20 degree, so we will take CV, that is factor for the type of idler, as 460, and velocity we have considered it as 2 meters per second. Now if you substitute all these values in your equation number 1, we get capital Q was the only unknown in that equation now. So you will get Q is equal to 188.7 tons per hour. But what was the design capacity given in the problem statement? It is given as 200 tons per hour. So this is less than 200 tons per hour. So what we will comment as, that is our selection with this criteria, that is B mean as 0.65 meter, 650 mm, and velocity is 2 meters per second. This criteria fails in the design aspect. So we have to select next standard size of the belt. Okay, so that is our comment based on these two parameters. Now after 650 mm, what is the belt size? Again we will refer PHG data book. Here the next set of standard belt size is 800 mm with the maximum allowable belt conveyor speed, that is velocity, is 2.75 meters per second. From PHG 9.20. okay, now we will check these values again. So we are again substitute, we get Q is equal to 406.9 tons per hour, which is greater than 200 pph, that is given capacity, and thus our selected belt is okay now. So this is our comment. So now our B value is fixed, 0.8 meter or 800 mm. So now our belt width is fixed and maximum permissible velocity is known to us as V is equal to 2.75 meters per second. But we have to find out the actual speed of the belt for the given problem statement. So let us try to calculate now the V actual. Okay, so we will again use equation number 1 only. So what is that equation? B mean is equal to 1.11 into bracket Q upon rho CV bracket raised to 1 by 2 plus 0.05. Now here we will use Q as given capacity, so 200 pph, and we will try to calculate now V actual. Okay, so when we substitute the values, you will get the V actual is equal to 1.352 meters per second. So this is your another answer. So whenever the lump size is given to us for whether it is a graded material or for whether it is ungraded material, whenever the lump size is given to us or known to us, we have to approach this particular method, and using that, it is from PHG 9.20, we will get the equation of B mean. From that we will calculate the Q. We will check whether that Q is lesser than the given capacity or not. If it is lesser than that, then we will again take the next higher set of readings from the standard table, and then we will again try to calculate the Q. Whenever it is greater than the given capacity, our design values are safe, and we will consider it as the belt width and the velocity as okay, and the design will be safe. So that is our approach by designing the belt. Now also we have to note that the material which is conveyed on the belt, we have to consider that the material will be conveyed in the upward direction unless and until it is specifically given that material is being transported from the upper side to the lower side, that is material is conveyed in the downward direction. Now step 2 is motor selection. Now for motor selection, we must know what is the tension on the belt drive. Okay. Once we calculate the total tension, so based on the tension on the belt, we have to select a motor to drive that belt. Okay. So from PHG, again from the PHG 9.18, you will get the formulas to calculate the different tensions on the belt drive, and based on that, there is another formula in that 9.18 itself to calculate the capacity of the motor. So we will first calculate the resistance on the belt on the top run as well as on the bottom run, so that you can calculate the total resistance or the total tension on the belt. So first, resistance on belt on top run, that is on the upper side. Okay, so it is given by the WO is equal to CFL into bracket GG plus GB cos delta plus GRO plus H into GG plus GB. We will consider this as equation number 2. First equation was B mean, so this is second equation WO. Here C is 2.4. This C is nothing but your secondary resistance factor. Now this C, you can refer it from the graph. Now again, this graph is given in the PHG data book itself. So you have to refer PHG 9.18. There you will find a graph where the length of the belt versus this secondary resistance factor, this graph is given to us. So you have to plot the particular point. In our case, the length is 50 meters. So you have to plot it on the graph. Then whatever point it is crossing that graph curve, you have to mark that point and you have to refer the horizontal value. Here it is 2.4. So this is from graph. Then F. So C is 2.4. F is 0.02. Now this value is standard and you have to consider it 0.02 only for standard conveyor system, belt conveyor system. Then GG. Now again, GG is nothing but your weight of conveyed material. It is given in the page 9.18 itself. So GG is calculated as capital Q divided by 3.6 into actual velocity. So here it is 41.1 kgf per meter. You have to calculate it using the values. Then GB. Now this value you have to refer it from the PSG book. So from PSG 9.19 we will take the average weight per meter run GB. So for 800 mm belt, GB is 12 kgf per meter. So refer it from the table PSG 9.19. Delta is given in the problem statement itself, that is 15 degree, and GRO, that is weight of troughing idler on the top run per meter. So again from PSG 9.19 itself we have to consider this tube diameter and boring diameter. So we will assume it here as tube diameter as 140 mm and bearing diameter as 20 mm. So for our standard belt width of 800 mm we will get this GRO per idler as 26.2. We will get this GRO as 26.2 kgf per idler. But we want this GRO in terms of per meter length, so we have to divide this value by idler per meter. Number of idlers per meter we will divide it. So GRO divided by S value, that is spacing between the two idlers. GRO is equal to 26.2 divided by S, that is nothing but 26.2 divided by 1.5. This S is equal to 1.5 meter per idler. This is from the table itself. From PSG 9.19 we have the maximum spacing between the idlers S as for 800 mm width and density in the range of 0.4 to 1.2 we have S is equal to 1.5. Then only unknown remaining in equation number 2 is now H. How to calculate H? H can be calculated from the Pythagoras theorem, because this distance is nothing but your L, that is center to center distance between two drums. So here L is given to us 50 meters and delta is given as 15 degree. Using trigonometry you can calculate it as H is equal to (15) into sine delta, so sine 15. So this value you will get it as 12.94 meters. So sometimes what they will give you in problem statement, instead of giving the distance between center to center distance between two drums, they will give you the spacing between the two drums, horizontal spacing. So they will give you the A value and they will give you the inclination angle, and they will ask you to find out the center to center distance between, or you can calculate H and L from that A value. So based on the data given, you have to apply certain geometry here. So now all values in the equation 2 are known to us. So we will substitute those values and you will calculate the WO now. So CFL into bracket GG plus GB cos delta plus GRO plus capital H into GG plus GB. So substituting all these values, C is as 2.4, F as 0.02, L is 50, GG we have calculated as 41.1, GB we have taken it from the PhD data book, that is 12, cos delta is cos 15, GRO we have calculated as 26.2 divided by 1.5, H 12.94. Okay, so when we substitute all these values, you will get WO as 852.13 kgf. So this is resistance on the top run. So similarly we have to find out the resistance on the bottom run. So again from the PhD 9.18 we have the formula WU is equal to, we will consider this as equation number 3. Okay, where GRU is weight of straight idlers on the bottom run per meter length. Now from PhD 9.19 we have one table for straight idlers and return idlers. This GRU is calculated as 18.2 divided by 3. So that is 6.07 kgf per meter. Okay. Now you have to refer a table from PhD 9.19 for return idlers and straight idlers. That is spacing between the return idlers is given as 3 and the weight on the belt while on the bottom run on return idler is considered as a 18.2 kgf per idler. So this is GRU. Now all other values are known to us. GB we have already calculated, H we have already calculated, CFL known to us. So using this, WU can be calculated as, when we substitute all these values, you will get this WU as minus 112.9 kgf. So here negative sign indicates that belt on the bottom run would move due to its own weight and no any external load we have to apply to run this return idler. So the weight of the belt on bottom run itself will drive the bottom idlers, okay, or return idlers. So that is indicated by this negative sign. So if any external load is to be applied here, then instead of negative sign here we will get positive sign. Now we have calculated the resistance on the top run and resistance on the bottom run also. So total resistance on the belt is equal to WO plus WU. So when we add WO and WU, we will get total resistance. So in our case it is 739.23 kgf, and if we convert it into Newton, you will get it as 7392.3 Newtons. Multiplied by 10, you will get it in terms of Newton. So this is your P. Now this total resistance will decide the motor capacity to drive that belt conveyor. Okay, so according to this total resistance, we have to use a formula for selection of motor. Now, motor power is given by total resistance into actual velocity divided by mechanical efficiency. Total resistance into velocity, actual velocity will give you the actual power, but we have to consider the mechanical efficiency also. So when we substitute here, you will get, assuming that mechanical efficiency as 0.85, motor power as 11.75 kilowatt. Now, in some of the design methods, or some authors have considered adhesion factor also. So, what they will do, in the design step itself, they will consider Ka as adhesion factor, and while selecting the motor, you have to consider that adhesion also. So, what you have to do is, total power, whatever you have derived it, just multiply it by the adhesion factor. It is to be considered as in the range 1.1 to 1.2. Now, you can consider this adhesion factor, or you can neglect it also. There is no any issue. Because, why we can neglect it? Because we are going to apply a standardization method for this selection of motor, and for standard size of the motor, we are going for next set of standard, that is higher standard of this actual power required. So, we will select as 15 kilowatt, as 15 kilowatt. Now, from where we have taken the standard value, you have to refer PSG 5.124 page number, PSG 5.124, and we have selected the motor capacity as 15 kilowatt. You will find that the same motor is available for 3 different RPM speeds. So first one is 3000 RPM, second one of same capacity 15 kilowatt with 1500 RPM, and third one of same power, that is 15 kilowatt but with 1000 RPM. Now which one is to be selected? So that motor to be selected should be such that it should be moderate in a cost, as well as it should have a reasonable gear ratio. Okay. Now the gear ratio depend on the number of poles, and number of poles are fixed. That is 2, 4, 6 and 8. Now if we consider a standard RPM for number of poles, then for 2 number of poles, RPM of the motor remains 3000. For 4 numbers it is 1500 RPM. For 6 it is 1000 RPM. And for 8 it is 750 RPM. Then how to decide it? So for that we have one empirical relation. Okay. Now what is that empirical relation? So NS is equal to 120 into F divided by P, where Ns is your speed of the synchronous motor, F is frequency of power supply, which is 50 Hz. It is standard value in India, and P is number of poles. That means this speed is indirectly proportional to number of poles. That means if number of poles are lower, speed is going to be higher, okay, and if number of poles are more, the speed is going to decrease, that is RPM will decrease. So we will consider all these factors and we will select. Thus selecting a motor of 15 kilowatt hour, and we will consider the moderate gear ratio which is related with the 4 number of poles, and the RPMs will be 1500 RPM. 1500 RPM. Okay. So why? Because as your RPMs are more, the cost of the motor is more. So we will refer to the moderate value of the RPM. We will keep the power as 15 kilowatt itself, and we will select the motor. Now we will continue the next part, that is belt design and drum design, in the next lecture. Thank you.